What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some more r/AmITheA butthole. If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below, but if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too, as it truly helps out our channel. And with that being said, we're just going to jump straight into today's stories, because why the hell not, right? Much love, guys. Now, our first story comes from a throwaway account, and let me just pre-warn you, it does involve talking about a young girl that had passed away. So, am I the arsehole for being mad at my wife for opening my daughter's letter? My daughter, AmITheA, passed away from an infection a year ago. She was 15, living with me, her stepmom and her stepbrother. AmITheA was a private person. She had always expressed her feelings through writing. When she was 13, she decided to write herself a letter to open in 10 years and answer questions about how her life was going. She struggled with breathing problems. We did all we could. Her stepmom took out a loan to pay for a medical device that she needed. Her condition would improve and then worsen. Her death was devastating. She's no longer here, but every day when I wake up, the first thing I do is look for her, thinking for just a second that she's still here with us. Then it hit me again and again. It's very hard, that is all I can say. I have the letter AmITheA left for herself. I remember her telling me that I'm the only one allowed to open it, but I have to wait till her 23rd birthday. That's when she wanted to open it. I keep it in my closet all the time. My wife mentioned it several times. She wanted to open it, but I told her I'm honouring AmITheA's wish and respecting it. This won't be opened before her 23rd birthday. She didn't think I was being logical, but stopped talking about it. Last week was AmITheA's death anniversary. I was busy with my family. I came home in the evening. My sister called me, telling me to go and check my wife's Facebook page and see what she posted there. I checked and saw that she opened AmITheA's letter, took pictures of it and posted it on her page. There were already over 20 likes on that post, and my stepson and his mum's side of the family were all tagged. I had no idea. I was livid. I went to talk to her. She asked what was wrong and I blew up asking her why she did this. She started apologising, saying it was AmITheA's first anniversary and wanted to bring people's attention to get to know AmITheA better by reading about her dreams and plans for the future. I yelled at her and told her she shouldn't have touched it after I made it clear to her that this letter will only be opened on AmITheA's 23rd birthday. Period. She started crying, saying she's as much devastated by this tragedy, but I was acting cruel and dismissive of her feelings. We had an argument, then I left the house for hours. Mother-in-law wanted to know what was going on because my wife went to her house and was upset. I didn't respond to any calls I received. I only texted my wife telling her to take the post down, but my sister said it's still there. Hell no, you're not going to be the arsehole. AmITheA said it was for you only, that you was the only one to read that in the first place, and it wasn't to be opened till the date that you specified. And what gives her the right to think that she can do this and then post it on Facebook as well? Oh, I hate it when people turn to Facebook for those sort of things. And it's just so incredibly sad. I'm so sorry for your loss, OP, and yeah, you're having to deal with this afterwards as well. Let's have a look at some of the comments and see what they say. And Concrete Jungle Ray says, not the arsehole, your wife is a complete arsehole for doing what she did. Not only did she disrespect you, but she disrespected your daughter, her wishes, her memory. It's the ultimate disrespect to go against someone's last wish. I'm sorry for your loss, but I couldn't be with someone that's completely dismissive. And Sound Like But Actually says, not the arsehole, the sheer level of disrespect here. I'm a little shocked, honestly, and I consider myself a bit of an Am I the Arsehole veteran. She disrespected you and your daughter so many times. She disrespected you both when she chose to open the letter ahead of the 23rd birthday, even after you explicitly told her not to. She disrespected you both when she opened the letter without you being present, even though your daughter's wish was that only you could open it. And the sheer level of disrespect to post it on Facebook, your daughter's private hopes and dreams that she will never get to experience, publicly flaunted on social media. I wanted to get to know her better is such heinous bullshit. The people who loved your daughter and whom she loved in return knew her. Certainly your daughter would have no interest in her stepmother's Facebook friends getting to know her better. Let's face it, your wife only did this so she could play the poor grieving mother role for likes on the anniversary of your daughter's death. Sending you all the peace and love in the world, OP. I'm so sorry for your loss and for the pain this horrible action by your wife has caused you. And Thick Lover says, not the arsehole, that is divorce level cruelty. An individual ad says, not the arsehole, oh my god. She took what was supposed to have been a private moment between you and her future self and she made it all about herself. And then she posted it on Facebook. Talk about a violation of trust and privacy. I'll tell a select few family members what she did if for no other reason than to vent and share your feelings with them. But really, this would be very difficult to forgive, let alone forget. And now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation and how would you deal with it? Let me know in the comments below. And our next story comes from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for not telling my boyfriend that my house isn't in my name? I've 39 female, have been with my boyfriend 42 male for 8 months and have been living together for 2 months. He moved into my house as he was renting an apartment before he moved in. Last week, a piece of mail with my mother's name on it came from the city. He asked why my mum was getting mail from the city. I said it must have something to do with the property. He asked why my mum would be receiving things from the city. She lived 3 hours away. I told him that it's because the house was in her name. Now he's mad at me saying that I lied to him about my finances and place in life. He went out and hadn't answered any calls or texts. I don't think I did anything wrong here. I paid the down payment, I paid the mortgage, I pay all the bills. This is my house. I have the credit to buy a house in my name if I wanted. It is in my mum's name for my protection due to an incident that he knows about. Before he moved in, I explained that this was my house and his name wasn't going to be on anything and he was fine with that. My mum refers to the house as mine, and if I sell the house, any monies made go to me. I tried to explain all of this to him, but he called me a liar and left. Now, if you had been together for quite a while, I might understand and you was combining your finances and all this kind of thing, and you was planning on getting married and all this, I would understand, knowing about each other's financial situations in some way, right? But they've only been together for 8 months. Living together for 2, so he seems very interested in the house. His actions were very, very worrying that he just when he found out this information, just got up and left and called her a liar. I mean, what the hell? It is very concerning in my eyes. But Revolutionary Cook says, not the arsehole, and your boyfriend's reaction raises major red flags. Why would he have such an overreaction to this? Does he perhaps have designs on your providing for him financially? And StarchyTuber says, not the arsehole, there may be things about his finances that he's keeping a secret from you. In some jurisdictions, if you were to marry, even a house that is only in your name would be considered a marital home, and he would get a share in the event of divorce. Your mum being on the deed changes the situation. Be wary of this guy, his reaction doesn't make sense if he's completely on the up and up. And OP says, we are never getting married, it's not my thing, it's part of the incident in my post. He knows this. And Vance Mason says and quotes, now he's mad at me saying I lied to him about my finances and place in life. He went out and hadn't answered any calls or texts, and then says, what? Have we travelled back in time and all relationships are based on your family name and financial status? OP, ditch this guy please, not the arsehole. And Monday Night Fuckball says, not the arsehole, and this is a huge red flag. He's lived with you for 2 months, and this is a private arrangement between you and your mother that has 0 real world consequences. It's none of his business, and if anything shows that you do in fact have your shit together, making a smart choice for a specific reason. His behaviour is incredibly revealing and very troublesome. It says to me that he has some pretty bad intentions regarding you and your property, and now your mother is involved, he doesn't have the access he thought he did. At best, he's using this as an excuse to accuse you of lying to him when you very clearly didn't. The details of your financial life had nothing to do with him, and he really has no tangible reason to storm off. If it were me, I'd ask him to leave. He's shown you he can't have a mature response to new information. And now I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation, and would you be concerned if, this happened to you? Let me know in the comments below. And our next story is from a random string of numbers. Am I the arsehole for taking back my stepdaughter's gift over a comment she made about my ex-wife? Me, male 43, and my ex-wife divorced 6 years ago. The reason was her refusing to move in with me out of the country and leave her folks to the town she grew up in. She was a very generous, kind-hearted person, and our separation never affected the mutual respect we had for each other. I work in construction. I left the country and met my now wife and stepdaughter who's 18. She lives with her mother. My relationship with her is based on respect, although we're not that close. Anyways, my ex-wife got sick in the last couple of years. I stayed in contact to check on her since I live in another country. My wife is okay with that since she knows my ex and we knew each other since childhood. My stepdaughter, however, would make comments about her although she never met her. She'd ask me inappropriate questions, compare her mum to my ex, and ask if I ever thought about going back to the country and getting romantically involved with my ex again. I snapped and told her to stop, and that was it. I recently was able to get an apartment that I was planning on renting out, but my wife said it'd be great if we let my stepdaughter move into the apartment as her 18th birthday gift. She said she'd be very grateful for this support, and I agreed, thinking my stepdaughter is more deserving than others. She was happy when she knew. She saw it and was excited to move the next month. Last week I received the worst news in my life. My ex-wife passed away. My stepdaughter came into the room and saw me sitting on the floor. She asked and I told her my ex-wife passed away. She looked at me, then smirked and said, "Ding dong, witch is finally dead." I was stunned. I yelled at her, telling her to get out. I told my wife what happened and that I'm taking back the keys to the apartment from my stepdaughter after the disrespect she showed to a woman she never even met. My wife argued that she was joking. I asked if this was a good time for her jokes, seeing me like this and acting insensitive. She didn't respect the woman I loved and grew up with for years. My stepdaughter heard and was crying. My wife called me harsh and that she's just a kid, but I refused to discuss it, and now they're claiming I'm being cruel and shouldn't go back after promising. Now we're going to start off with a definitely not the arsehole in the situation. That was just totally disrespectful, uncalled for. But my Columbo senses, again, are tingling right now. I do wonder if there is a bit more to this going on in the background as such, because why would the daughter just suddenly hate the ex-wife for no reason? It's almost like there's conversations going on in the background, maybe between wife and daughter, and maybe I'm just reaching here too, but it almost feels like that to me. Get little senses of there might be like a little conversation that they're talking about ex-wife in the background and daughter's bringing it out. She's the one who's coming forward and making these comments and stuff like that. Just a thought from me there, but it might be totally wrong as well. And I just want to look says, not the arsehole, don't bite the hand that feeds. Play stupid games, get stupid prices. Don't be a dick, pick one. Said all of them all at once there. AmITheA says, you are not the arsehole OP. I'm very sorry for your loss and the grief and shock you are currently experiencing. It's so hard when someone so close to you is gone. It seems to me that you're being taken for a bit of a ride on this one. Your wife manages to swindle an apartment for her kid and then won't discipline her for being vile. Like an apartment isn't a small gift. I got a nice necklace for my 18th. Out of curiosity, you do love your wife, don't you? And don't talk about her constantly in front of everyone. If so, this might be SD projecting her mother's insecurities because your wife is too afraid to say so. Just food for thought. And Type 1 Error says your stepdaughter knew that your ex-wife was important to you. Her comments weren't just disrespectful for your ex-wife, they showed no respect at all for you. Your wife's reaction to her daughters explains a lot about her daughter's behaviour. Rather than scolding her daughter and demand that she apologise for her cruel comments, she got angry at you. Her cruel, entitled daughter is of her own making. Not the arsehole. And Consistent Leopard says, not the arsehole, your stepdaughter is cruel and disrespectful. She's 18 years old, a grown woman. If she's just a kid, then why is she moving out on her own? Now, I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation and how would you deal with it? Do you think, there is conversations going on in the background, or do you think something completely different? Let me know in the comments below. And our next story comes from Fed Up Mum of 2. Am I the arsehole for taking down pictures from a wall collage my daughter was making? My older daughter Heather, 15, doesn't like her sister Olivia, 5, due to the age gap. My husband and I have tried everything to get them to bond, especially since Olivia looks up to her big sister. But nothing is working and Heather just wants to stay away from her sister, and for her sister to stay away from her. It was Olivia's birthday yesterday, but since it was a school day and because of the pandemic, we couldn't give her a party. Instead, just a cake and a family dinner. Heather participated without any hiccups and then went to her room to make her wall collage. Olivia wanted to play with her sister and went into her room. Heather was taping some pictures to her wall and Olivia wanted to help. Heather reluctantly let her tape a couple of pictures on the wall, but when Olivia started to accidentally crumple a couple of the paper cutouts Heather was taping to her wall, she yelled at her sister to go away and stop ruining her stuff. I wasn't too far away, so I knew what the girls were doing. I immediately went to scold Heather for being mean to her sister on her birthday. She told me that I always turned a blind eye to her sister, encroaching upon her personal space, and that she was done pampering the baby, who isn't even a baby anymore. I told Heather family doesn't have boundaries and that she has to be nicer to her sister, who only wanted her love and affection. Heather rolled her eyes and said she never asked for such a large age gap. I told her that her paper cutouts were temporary, but family is forever. My husband and I tried to make the rest of Olivia's birthday a good one, and we took down Heather's pictures from her wall collage as punishment. But was that an arsehole move? We know Heather is just an angsty teen, but we've had enough with the way she treats her sister. Edit, I've had to step away for a while to work, but saw all the comments. I can't reply to each one individually, but I'll clarify that 1. Heather and Olivia are full siblings. My husband and I are their bio parents. 2. You're all overreacting and reading too much into my sentiment about family having no boundaries by implying sexual abuse from family members and watching each other shout and change. I only meant that doors shouldn't be locked because we don't lock each other out. We include each other and there shouldn't be secrets and shutting off. If you're a member of the family, act like it. And we're going to start straight away with throwaway saying you're the arsehole, you're the arsehole, you're the arsehole, and quotes family doesn't have boundaries, and then says what an incredibly creepy and toxic thing to say. She has a right to privacy. She could be nicer, but 6 was ruining her pictures. You should all work on respecting her privacy if you want her to be open at all when she starts gaining independence. Taking down her collage was an arsehole move through and through. And Darkest Shade of Blue says you're the arsehole. Having a young sibling can be insanely frustrating, especially with such a large age gap, and even more during a pandemic when you're stuck together even more than normal. It sounds like her college wall is a valuable form of self-expression for her and might help her relieve some stress. She has a right to be upset if something important to her is damaged. Maybe she shouldn't have yelled, but you had no right to take down the pictures from her wall. I'm talking about like being an annoying sibling. I was definitely an annoying one. My brothers are all older than me. I got 3 of them. And growing up, like the oldest and the next one up from me, they had girlfriends and then they would come home and that sort of thing. They always moved home for a little bit before they went off again for a while, and basically I was a little shit. Not all the time, but I knew how to get a rise out of them, and they would do it to me as well. It was a bit of rivalry. We love each other, but you know, we used to, and I can remember the next brother up from me, he was stood in the kitchen one day making a coffee. I've probably told this story before on this channel and I can't remember if I did. He was making a coffee and he was stood next to the kettle waiting for it to boil, and I kept running in and I was just in my underwear and my blue pants, I remember those. God bless those blue pants. Rip. Literally, you'll find out in a second. And I kept running in there with a rolled up newspaper, and when my brother turned his head, I would whack him around the side of the head and run off. And I must have done this about 3 times and was getting away with it, and I was having a great time. God knows why I thought I was going to get away with it constantly for. And anyway, the 4th time comes round, I give him the biggest whack. Just as I turn around to run away, he grabs the back of my underwear and he grabs them tight, and then I was stuck. And he lifted me up by my underwear, like right up to my armpits this was, and the bottom ripped out. And I was dangling there. Yes, it was a sight, but I remember the burning sensation still. Good times though. Anyway, I went off on a waffle there. Teletubby says, you're the arsehole, you only give Heather another reason to dislike Olivia. Maybe talk to your kid instead of giving her quotes from Pinterest. And basically a basic says, you're the arsehole, families most definitely can and should have boundaries, and you need to respect the ones your older daughter wants. And now I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation and how would you deal with it? Let me know in the comments below. And Throwaway Careful says, am I the arsehole for wearing heels to my fiance's sister's wedding when it makes my fiance uncomfortable because he is short? Hello, I'm 5'8" and my fiance is 5'3". I actually have a preference for shorter men, and all of my boyfriends have been shorter than me. I guess sort of because men who are taller than me make me uncomfortable because of an incident in my past. Yes, I'm getting therapy for it, don't ask about it. While the short stature of my boyfriend usually comes up playfully, sometimes things do annoy him. I was looking at pictures on Facebook of his sister's wedding from a couple of years ago, and the height difference started to bother him. Specifically, the situation was that he asked me not to wear heels when we went to family gatherings because it would exacerbate our height difference and it would be kept photos. Well, we had a really stupid argument the day of his sister's wedding that was more like a playful fight over who was better at something, and I remember putting on heels to the wedding just to annoy him. I didn't think it was a big deal, it was just like a joke I guess, and I thought it made for some really cute photos with us together. Anyways, we saw the wedding photos on Facebook, and one of his stupid college friends that he hardly knows anymore made a joke about hoping a short man like fiance could satisfy a woman like me. While I blocked him immediately, this started a whole stupid argument about how I was mean for wearing heels. But I feel like the only reason he is bringing this up now is because of what some stupid guy he used to know said. I apologise, but he wants me to promise to not wear heels when we are together, and I just don't think I should have to. Am I the arsehole for wearing heels around my short fiance, even though it makes him uncomfortable? And we'll start right away with Frank saying, and quoting, "And I remember putting on heels to the wedding just to annoy him," and then says, "You're the arsehole per your own admission." And then Rainbow says, "You're the arsehole. I was 100% ready for a not the arsehole vote until you admitted doing it just to irritate him. He literally told you he doesn't like it when you wear heels to events because the photos taken on those days make him feel embarrassed and insecure." And then right on cue, someone made a comment on one of those very photos that made him feel, you guessed it, embarrassed and insecure. He was honest with you about what bothers him, and you used it in a playful fight to tick him off. That's the very definition of an arsehole move, my friend. And Terrified Squid says, "I'm going to go with an everyone sucks here. 1. Your fiance is partially, and mostly by a vast majority, the arsehole for taking out his insecurities on you. They are his to deal with, and he doesn't need to drag you into them to the point where they dictate your wardrobe choices. I sincerely hope he's seeing a counsellor for this. I imagine if this is such a big deal, he may have other issues that need addressing. 2. You're partially the arsehole here for doing it on purpose. I get not changing around your entire wardrobe for the dude, but he's expressed a problem, and part of being in a happy, healthy relationship is loving your partner, flaws and all, and not making life unnecessarily painful for him. Do you chuck out all your heels and vow to never wear them again? Hell no. Accommodate a problem you know he has when he asks you about it personally for one situation involved with family and long-term records. That's not unreasonable. I know you did it just to annoy him, but what you would consider mildly annoying is obviously a big deal for the dude. This is by no means a 50-50 split. He is much more an arsehole than you are, but you are not 100% innocent in this either." And now I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation? Should OP accommodate the heel request or not? Let me know in the comments below. Now once again guys, thank you for being here today. I hope you did enjoy today's stories, and if you did, you know what to do. Hit that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too. Your support, your love, your time is all very, very much appreciated. Thank you so much, and I will see you, hopefully, in the next one. Take care guys. Much love.